I don't know if it's a kid, but everybody's a kid these days, right? And as we get older, it looks like that. The people running the government are kids. Jonathan lives in Louisiana. I don't know how old he is. He has herpes. And
tell us about you, not about him.
I actually enjoyed running the outline and taking my time and being very clear about what I was saying and waiting for him to respond. He was testing, he was really with it, and I just listened to his energy, was with his energy and watched him as he was not struggling, but he just stuck with it to find a signal. So I thought I was very supportive and good. I enjoyed it. I got a little crazy near the end. I gave him too many things to do.
Now, Greg, I want you to be very blunt about the mistakes you made and how you screwed it up. Just talk about that. Very self-examining, self-aware, and self-critical. What did you do wrong?
Well, one thing is I didn't follow the outline.
Okay, there you go.
Period.
There's one.
And I was trying to give him, rather than have him contribute. I didn't
Good.
ignore it.
Thank you. That's very important. Let's stay with that. You were trying to give him something rather than having him give himself and us. What was that? Tell us about that. What was it like inside you when you were doing that?
Well, it's painful.
Uh-huh.
It's like I'm turning myself out from the inside out. And it's like my guts are going out, my heart's going out, but there's nothing coming back.
So you were in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were actually in a symptom, and you can feel that now.
Yeah.
And this is what you needed to start by saying with, actually no, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe the way you started talking about this was perfect because, you were pretty good. It really wasn't bad, and yet it wouldn't have gotten the job done either. See, that's the thing. We've all been fooling ourselves because we get off. This is what's been happening to me lately, too. I must say, like I get off, a call, and I say, "Gee, I was great." Like that meeting where I assaulted Barb like so horribly through the whole meeting, like I was like attacking Barb. And I got off that call and I said, that was a pretty good meeting, And I believed that for 5 days or 6 days or something. And then I listened to the meeting. And when I listened to the meeting, I said, as soon as I started, first time I heard myself, I said, oh shit. And I was realizing like, oh my God, listen to me. What was I thinking? What was I doing, And then I apologized. I got to my, I would never have been able to apologize. I didn't know I did anything wrong. I was like oblivious to what I did. And see, that's the thing is we're good. We're great. We're like, people love us. And, we part friends and, we part company with them as friends and they feel like they've been supported and they promise to call back and do something with us and tell us something and they never call back. And we have no idea why.
Right.
And the reason they don't call back is because we didn't get them in a program. Barb, you see this? Yeah. Okay. I know you're on mute because I...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just blew it. You know, we had the person and we never got them into a program, and they're not going to cure anything. This person is not going to cure anything.
Yeah.
You know, they're just going to drift through life. You know, we'll never talk to them again, and they'll have their password for a year, and then, you know, we won't even be thinking about them when it expires. That's the way it will be. Over and gone. Dead and gone. So back to you, Greg. Oh, Barb, mute, because you're having a lively chat with somebody, I'm sure.
Yes, Anna Gloria.
You're talking to Anna Gloria?
She wants chocolate. Oh.
Do you ever ask her what happened?
Yeah, they're still asking Jennifer what happened. They still don't get these people. But
So what was her story? What did she say so far happened?
But her husband, pressuring her or something. But I think she broke up anyway. Or no, she was saying about how she didn't really know what she was doing. She sort of played dumb, she has a tendency to get involved with things before she really understands what she's doing and that kind of stuff. I don't know, she just appeared out of nowhere last night asking me about chocolate, so that's all. Heard about today.
So in other words,
She was acting like
she's no good for the cure team.
She was?
She's no good for the cure team and never was, basically.
Not really, no. She just acted like she was just trying to fit to a group somewhere.
Yeah, it was all an act. She was acting.
Mm-hmm.
She spent the whole time bullshitting us.
Yeah.
And see, we didn't have an outline to run with her at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Although, quite frankly, it might not have done any good anyway. Because she's just a weak person, so she would have answered all the questions right, and then when her husband did what he did, instead of realizing that he's nuts, maybe she knows he's nuts, but she doesn't care. She wants to just stay there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't want the real thing. You know, Franny, when I was talking about what makes you worth having a relationship with, Franny, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Well, what you did with Greg in this situation, like the way you fought for him instead of against him,
Yeah.
that's what makes you worth having a relationship with. And what we're trying to do is identify those people and work with them and only them. Now, Barbara, you still, how you... when you have a symptom with some... Barb, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just asking you how your, how did you feel about your session that we did with Nancy, where we ran the outline?
It was pretty good. I didn't say anything, but I thought it was good.
Actually, you did a lot. You showed her how to remove things and so on.
These are the best. Yeah, I thought it was good. You kind of did the talking for me, which I thought was good. But,
well, I was trying... See, I wasn't anything against you, by the way. I need to practice the outline myself. So I decided that I would do the outline. That's what happened.
Yeah, no, I'm not supposed to be doing that for me.
Well, I really wasn't doing it for you. I was just doing it because I needed to practice, and I messed the outline up anyway.
I thought she was a good example of somebody who was almost slightly skeptical or even almost negative, but even though she wasn't supposed to know this because it was good.
She was a good example of somebody what?
That was slightly, not sort of skeptical or almost borderline negative because of just her history, or that she hadn't had tons of results and stuff lately.
Well, Nancy has been, she learned how to do an earlier form of this 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where I blew the outline. I did something that one of the strategy points says not to do this. And what I did was I went back and I started having her test more things and try to cure more things.
Yeah.
And that, you never do that. I was supposed to be asking her for a contribution, but listen to what happened. Everybody listen. You're not going to be effective at interacting with them. Does that make any sense to you?
Well, I mean, having viruses and bacteria running my life is kind of a new concept to me. To think that there's something significant in that regard.
Well, we're really not talking about viruses and bacteria now. We're talking about when you feel at a loss with another person. We're talking about connecting your etheric body with him. That's not bacteria and viruses, that's connection. Whole different area. See, there's a lot of different areas to this thing we're doing.
I know.
Different kinds of curing. And also, there's something I want you to test. Right now, just test if you have any rot in any of your bodies.
ROT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Test
My
it.
teeth.
Did I? Okay,
Yeah, I have them in my teeth. I
okay.
have rot.
Okay, how about any rot in my celestial body?
Oh my God. The side door.
Barb?
Or you have to be on mute.
Barb!
Sorry. What?
Oh, listen. Number one, be on mute. Number two, listen to every word. This is a 3-minute clip of this, and I want you to hear this, okay?
I think it's indistinguishable. I have heard it. I'm trying to hear it on speakers across the room, which is better, and I still can't understand it. But
Can you
overall,
understand, Ross, can you understand what she's saying?
Not a word. There is a tracking sound covering everything.
Okay, let me try this. Barb, can you focus on this now, or
I'm focused right near you.
right? Go on mute. In case somebody passes through the room, because it's going to ruin this for everybody else. Can you go on mute, please, Barb?
Yes. Going back down to my dungeon. I had to
I
get
don't
some.
know. I mean,
Did you get a signal?
it just doesn't make sense to me. So, I mean,
Did you get a
yes,
signal?
no, I don't know.
Did you get a signal? Just tell me. Barb, are you on mute?
Yeah.
No, you're
Yeah, no.
not. Go on mute
Yep.
now.
There's no noise here.
Go on mute now anyway. It's very hard for everybody to hear this without you being on mute, because any little bump that you do or anything you
Okay.
do that makes noise wrecks it for them. Okay, so I mute it, and then I'll start it over. Here we go.
ROT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Test
My teeth.
Did I test it? Okay,
Yeah, I have them in my teeth. I have rot.
Okay, how about any rot in my celestial body?
Well, I don't know.
just tell me if your finger twitched. Any rot? We'll go through the bodies. Any rot in my celestial?
Yes, I am rot in my celestial body.
Okay, I'm now removing all rot from my celestial body. Get it twitch?
Yes.
Okay. So presumably it's gone. Test. Did I catch that from somebody?
No.
Okay.
I guess I didn't.
Test. Do I ever catch rot from people in any of my bodies?
Yes.
Okay. Rot is often transmitted. Okay. I'm going to stop this now. Now, Ross, did you understand any of that?
Very little.
What happened was she got a signal, but rejected the information anyway.
Oh,
Now, listen to this movie all the way through, and you'll hear all this happening.
okay.
Okay, Barb, you can come off mute and hit the computer with your hand so it makes a little bumping sound. There you go. Now we know you're back. All right. Now, can you see my mistake here? Barb, what would have happened if I had asked her to do a supportive action?
She might have said, I'm already doing that, or I don't know what. It seemed like right when you were getting that part, that's when she got triggered, like intuitively, and that's when she started reacting.
So,
What was your mistake anyway, that you didn't have?
my mistake was I did what you heard instead of asking her to take a supportive action.
Oh.
I was at that part of the outline, and then she started saying that she was back to feeling bad and what we were doing was irrelevant to her life and she needed to, you know, whatever. I mean, here's how the thing began. And at the risk of,
Try to have,
let me just play a little.
I don't think we just can't hear it. Just tell us something.
myself,
No, listen, just try to listen.
it would be,
Go on mute.
I want to cure, whatever that childhood wound is, that makes me sort of a doubter or resist my, fulfilling all my own dreams. I have a lot of dreams and I get
Okay, stop. I'm stopping it. Ross, did you understand what she said?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Okay, she said what she wants to cure is the childhood wound that makes her doubt or resist or not fulfill her dreams. She has a lot of
Okay.
dreams that she wants to fulfill. So you see how
Okay.
she starts the session by telling us what she wants to cure, and she's hoping to cure that in the session.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's where she came from. So, Greg, what do you have to say about that?
Well, it's good that she expressed something. She was showing symptoms. But, I mean, about her? That was the beginning of the session.
Uh-huh.
She was telling me what her obsession was. And she never got out of her obsession. She's not going to, she's wanting to cure something in this obsession. It's something that's wrong with her. She's trying to change herself. And she's trying to do that through the whole thing.
Barb, what do you make of how she started? How does it seem to you? Barb, are you on mute still?
Yeah, I said I thought she was just trying to do her best to be a good guest. I think she didn't know what the meeting was about, so on her way there, she thought about something that she could think of to cure. And she's not someone who really gets sick at all, so she was thinking about what she said, her symptom of not completing all of her projects and stuff like that.
Okay, here it is. That she does need to cure this. She's absolutely right. That is her issue. That's what she needs to cure. So she's totally right about it. Is it caused by a childhood wound?
Partially, yeah. Partially.
Everybody test. Is
I got yes.
Greg?
Yeah, sure.
I think it was like you said, it could have been way from totally other lifetimes too.
I think the problem is that was beyond the scope of running the outline. It got too deep into trying to cure something that you were never going to be able to finish.
Now, her not doing what she, like not realizing her dreams, is not caused by a childhood wound.
It's not?
The idea she had.
No, it's the structure of her personality and how she interacts with life and with everything that's at the bottom of that. Not a
Well,
childhood
it sounds
wound.
like it's become an adult obsession wound rather than a kid wound.
What she has to do is cure, like, coaching. Long 20-mile marches of small, incremental, like for example, she discovered that she had rot, but she didn't make the discovery because she said, that doesn't make sense to me, I can't relate to it, I really need to get to my childhood wound and cure that. She just rejected the cure for her behavior. Barb, why is Nancy the way she is? I can say it in one sentence. So let's see if you can. Why is she the way she is?
I don't know, I should let you say it. I don't know. Yours just bad choices, bad habits. I don't know. She also, like, you know, she didn't cure things. She's not from the school of curing the way that she was still part of our program, and we were figuring things out and, you know, working things out, like therapy, which she didn't do. I mean,
Well, let's forget about her relationship with us. She doesn't realize her dreams and visions because why?
because,
Okay, there's a word. By the way, what you said just now was pretty good, actually.
you know, she doesn't finish things. That was all I just thinking. She's afraid to finish things or not be.
Nancy is enmeshed. That's the word. She is enmeshed with other issues.
Mm-hmm.
Her day is not about realizing her visions. Her day is about... Remember what she said she felt bad for like 12 hours about this guy?
Yep. That's a typical day for Nancy.
So the last 12 hours were that.
Mm-hmm.
And we cured it in a minute, and she didn't appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually went back to feeling bad, which I told her she was going to do. And then when I confronted her with that, she came out of it and felt better. She went through all these things, all for probably the purpose of invalidating what we were doing. Now let me ask you something, Barb. Suppose tomorrow Nancy comes to you and she says, hey, listen, Barb, I really do need coaching. And I've got $6,300 and I'll be happy to pay you. Will you take me on? Thing is, we got to talk every day for at least an hour, okay? Will you do that with me? Do you want to do that with her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, suppose you did it and she did what she did in this call every time you talk to her for 3 months.
She would do that, so she wouldn't waste her money. And number one, she wouldn't hire me, but if she did, she wouldn't waste it. If she paid for something, she wouldn't.
But would you want to do that for an hour a day for 3 months?
If I got paid for it, I would, but she wouldn't do that for every day. She would. I didn't even say, if you notice, I didn't say a word to that whole thing. And remember, you know, and she was paying me, I would say a lot of words, and she would not do that. Don't worry. And that's, like, you know, I had a session with Nell the other day. You just have to control people, but I didn't even say a word through that whole movie. And I wasn't being paid, and she didn't pay anything either, so she was just getting her residual, you know, resentments out with you and the organization, and drifts over to Chrissy. She paid Chrissy $3,000 for nothing. You know, she's got a lot of like unresolved issues.
Nancy.
And, yeah.
We'll talk about it. Okay. Let me ask Greg.
Yes.
Suppose she came to you and said that, or somebody like that came to
A lot
you
of people do that you work with.
and said, like, I want to, I'll pay you, no problem. I want to talk to you for an hour a day. I'll give you $6,300 for 3 months, and the person spent 3 months doing that. Would you want to do that if you knew that was coming?
I would not want to do that if I knew that in advance.
Why?
Because she would not get the result. I would not,
Yes, she
you know, maybe I would grow by learning something. I'd be learning how further to, you know, to talk to someone. But still, if she were doing that through the whole time, it would be, I'd rather spend that time with somebody else.
Let me ask Ross.
First, I would make it very clear from the very beginning that she has to follow some rules and do what I tell her to do if she wants to solve her problems. And she has to be very sincere and tell me, yes, I will, or no, I won't.
Okay, Ross, wait, stop. Ross. Let's say you did that, and the person said, no, I won't follow the rules.
Who's going to say that? Nobody would say that. That's not even what Nancy was saying. Nancy was just doing what so many of us have done. Greg and I would arrange something. She had something going on. That's what people do. She was sick in that moment. And, I didn't like fighting for her. I just thought you do what you were doing. But people go through shit. She was going through, and the minute she hung up the phone, she saw what she had done. She was in a symptom. Just like typical symptom. I mean, how many times have I batted away coaching or said fuck you or been, disrespectful or not wanting to help or taking the help and rejecting it later? Like, that's just what people do.
But if she continued in the second month, then I would...
That's just what she does. Yeah, but she's not going to continue. Why, who would continue that? Well, who would waste their money that time that way? She's not that stupid. She was doing something for the moment there. And she's just like any other client, like I said, in a few minutes during the week, and she did. That's what people do. They say it first.
People, I kind of agree with you in a sense. I wouldn't want to do that knowing in advance. I'd rather say spend my time with someone else. If I could have someone else that I would be coaching. But see, I wouldn't know that if I took her on, I didn't have room for somebody else. However,
anybody in this meeting
I'm not talking about Nancy now. I'm talking about someone like Nancy who is just would not come forth and would not play. If somehow she was learning, I could say, okay. I mean, I would rationalize it. Okay, something's happening in there. At some time she may come through and may pop out of that or may cure something. That would be your forward.
She did share something in the movie.
I know, and I'm not talking about Nancy in this call. I'm talking about someone who doesn't.
Yeah, but that's why they pay you. They want to learn how. So you can't do it all in one meeting. Like they're in the middle of it. You say, okay, there now you notice that you're doing the thing that you're doing that doesn't work. And you're sitting there with your $6,200, and it's a lot easier than to tell somebody, hey, you're doing it again. And I'll check it out. You're doing it again. Okay, well, this is enough for today. You go back and watch this movie. Next,
I would think that when you're coaching someone, it isn't so much that you cure things with the person as much as teach them how to cure themselves.
yeah, and point out what's not working. And if she,
That was the problem I had with Nancy, is that regardless of how much she cured or saw, she kind of went back to just, like, I don't know how, or I don't want to know how.
But I think the thing, I mean, again, see, I'm built on this because I see both. I see that she could learn. She's learned things in the past. It's just that she's stuck in something, as Barb was saying. I recognize that in the call.
I know Nancy really well, and I don't want to work with her because she has to come back for everything. But if she paid me, I would. She doesn't pay me. She has resentments from the past with me and all of us. So I wouldn't want to, like she's got her Abraham stuff and her forum stuff and her therapy and her Pilates and her gym and this and that and everything else. And so, and she looks over at me and says, what do you got that I need? Nothing, So she's not in a place to be a good client right now. But she showed up and she, might have seen something out of that meeting and that there's something to build on there. But I don't think she's someone who's going to jump for coaching,
So right now you wouldn't want to do that if she were like that.
Well, there was something. I was in the middle.
Anybody who paid me, Greg, and I do work with anybody who pays me, and I even work for people who don't pay me. So I don't know.
I understand that, and I see that too.
I mean, if you say I wouldn't want to work with her, I would work with her, no problem. I work with her anyway.
If a person wouldn't listen to me, it means she doesn't trust me. So I don't know how I can help her.
They trust you after they pay you the $6,200. That shows some level of trust. But right now, yeah, she probably doesn't trust us, or me, or any of us, So and as soon as she hung up the phone, she realized, wow, I really just attacked fire, didn't I? And she saw that it was her, not us. So that's her shit. That's her symptoms. That are getting in her way of having.
She said that to you?
Yeah. She knows what she did. She knows that she had anger come up. I could feel it. I was sitting right next to her. And she's angry. She's like me. She's frustrated. She's not as healthy as she could be. Doesn't have the results she could have. She's put thousands of dollars and thousands of years into a lot of things that have never come to fruition. And so she's got issues that are way bigger than, just us.
So it looks like she might have not done what we're saying for a whole month. Because she was saying something, at least in private, about how she was onto it, but she didn't say it there in the call. Although I think we all, at least I realized at the time, that she was stonewalling and just going back on that kind of.
She was just being a person. She was a typical person. She was there. She showed up. She was cheery.
Yeah.
She did her best, and she complimented everybody at the end. And she cleared something, and they came back. That's what happens.
Can I break in here? I hear everybody, Franny, Barb, everybody, Ross, going through the same thing about this. And so I just want to pose a question to Ross. Okay, Ross?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Suppose the person can't help it.
Yeah.
What about then? Like, suppose they're just going to do that every day for 3 months, even if they say they'll follow the rules, that they want to get something out of it, and all that stuff. They pay the money because they've got the money and whatever, but they just can't help being the way they are. And so
Yeah,
they can't get, the person can cure things, but they can't cognate that they're curing them and move towards their goal with curing. They just go right back to being sick 10 minutes later. They cure something and 10 minutes later it's back. And there's nothing they can do about it.
That's not true. I mean, there's nothing they can do
But
about
suppose, this is just a supposed question. Would you want to work with that person for $6,300 for 3 months? I'm asking Ross. Yes or
No.
Okay, you know. Greg's, let me ask you. You, yes. And don't say, oh, but they would change. Just
Yeah, I
take
can.
my supposition as it is.
Yes, and I did at the beginning. There's supposition. I agree. I would not want to work with someone like that.
Franny, what about you?
I would try it.
So you would want to work with them?
Yes, I always think that it's possible to get somewhere. Even, I mean, that's why I called Barb back the other day. I mean, I could have just said, "Oh, that's the way Barb is," you know.
No, you got some, and I never said that's the way Barb is. I know Barb isn't that way.
Well, no,
I know the
didn't
difference
say-
between Barb and somebody else.
I didn't mean you meaning you. I meant people could say that Barb's just the way that she is.
I thought it was great to call Barb back. But I'm asking, suppose you can't always get somewhere with the person. Suppose this person can't help it.
I don't know if I still don't know if I believe that unless the person was so horrible that I just couldn't stand them.
But
or
they're not
something.
horrible, they're nice and they're trying and
Yeah, but like,
You-
remember in our old course, that we say we never believe that you're stuck? I mean, I don't know how we could even say that to anybody.
you know, I like Nancy. I always did. And I think Nancy's a good person. And I'm not saying Nancy is irrevocably stuck or anything. I'm not really talking about Nancy. What I'm trying to do is isolate. Okay. You know what, Barb? I just want to put something in another thing in here that I think everybody will agree with, which is we're all really good at getting people to like us and like what we do. And it might be possible if we just modified ourselves that we could get, like, you know, a lot of people to say yes to all kinds of things. Like they would get kits, for example. But the problem would be that they wouldn't actually use them. Or they would hire us as coaches, but at some point they would just say, forget it, keep the money, I can't do this, and they'd walk away.
That's true, and that's Nancy. I've seen Nancy sign up, like, once I was at a thing with Chrissy, and Nancy jumped up and signed up for something, and she never even did the course. She paid $200 and never even showed up.
Uh-huh.
So Nancy does, but doesn't mean I wouldn't take her money, I wouldn't coach her forever.
Okay, so the question is, if we do that, let's say we spend all of our time getting people to like us. Oh, you got your Cure Team cap on, Barb.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. If we,
Looking at the lucky person I'm going to give it to, I'm going to give it to someone.
all right. If we spend our time getting people to like us, then what I'm trying to put out is that we'll never find the right people. See, I don't, like, when I made this outline, the idea, and I keep saying this over and over again, I'm trying to save you time. Like, let me go back to Greg. You know what one of your biggest mistakes was with the guy you were talking with yesterday when you did the outline with him? You spent too much time with him.
Yeah.
You told him too many things.
Yeah.
You needed to help him test. See that he got the good feeling. Make sure he knew that was another signal, a more important signal.
Right. She did.
Now, if 10 minutes later the person forgets that, you're not responsible for that. But you have evaluated the person and you look at the person and say, oh, he forgot that the good feeling is the most important signal. Maybe he isn't so good. And you start, your evaluation continues. And you're ticking off these little check boxes. How good is this person? And then you say, okay, what is an immediate support step that you can take right now? What can you do for the Cure Drive right this instant? Well, nothing, because I'm not on my computer and there's nobody here, but when I get to my computer, I'll share a bunch of stuff on Facebook. Okay, great, thank you, you pass on that. But suppose the guy starts saying, well, you know, I really haven't quite gotten into this myself yet, after he cured something in part 1.
Right.
And now he's saying, you know, I don't really know. I think I'd have to cure my herpes first. And you say, okay, fine. You're set up, you know what to do, watch the movies, have a good evening, goodbye.
Right.
And now you have all that time that you would have spent with him left over to do something nice for yourself, maybe.
Right.
Just some nurturing thing for yourself would be good. So I'm advocating, seeing like, Barb, you know what you were saying about how you don't have anybody else to coach? While that's true, you do have time, and time is an asset. So we need to all be able to be there and have time. And remember the other day you were tweeting about how you were tweeting some things about asking people to put bumper stickers on their cars. Were you in Albuquerque when you were talking about that? Oh, Barbara, you're on mute, I think.
I don't know. I think I was talking about some girl I worked with at Michael's house, Maggie.
Okay. By the way, that was a nice thing you wrote about Maggie. That she said she would give you some money.
She's like so many people. Like she's different than Nancy. She's totally beautiful and serene, and has got everything under the sun. She's laying there naked on the deck. She's like, oh, I got my signal, and oh, I do this all the time. This is how I cure things. I never get sick. In fact, they don't want to necessarily do anything or put a bumper sticker on their car and talk about it. Although that's what I mentioned. Like, oh, well, this is about having more people know about what you do every day. And then she's like, oh, I get it. Yeah. No, I haven't been, giving. There's a lot of, that's sanity. Like they're, oh yeah, this is, I always scan myself every day and double check that there's no disturbances and remove it all.
That's why, don't you think, one thing you'd have to say, you'd have to admit, whatever else we think about Nancy, we learned a lot more about Nancy from having that meeting with her, didn't we?
Well, yeah, you did.
Absolutely. I didn't know her very well.
And that's because we did this series of things with her. If we had sat there shooting the shit with her for an hour, we wouldn't know any more than we knew before. If we were all kidding around and being buddy-buddy and friends. But we weren't. We worked. Now, Barb?
Yes?
When you just said that you didn't think you learned much about her from the meeting?
Well, I already know you. I mean, I know, I just saw her be herself.
Well, a more practical question is, now that you had that meeting, and of course you knew many of the things that you knew there before, are there any things that you want to do with Nancy to continue?
No, I just want to succeed, and there's not much I can do for Nancy. She doesn't have $1,600 for coaching, and she wouldn't buy coaching for me, probably. And she's already helped me a lot in my life, so it's not like I want to ask her for help. She's given me, free reign of all her life and her houses and her office and her friends, and so it's really not. I mean, you guys could ask her for things more than I could. Make another movie with her, or you can. I don't really feel compelled to do anything more with her right now.
Now, why? Well, actually, I don't need to ask why, because you already explained it to me.
I mean, there's probably a little change in her now where I could, ask her to remove something and she'll know more I'm talking about. Like it's probably, there's more. she has some experience, like she felt what that was like. But she, comes from the school of explaining and stuff.
What is the thing that Nancy needs to know that you could help her know without explaining anything to her?
I don't know.
Is there such a thing? Everybody test. Is there something Nancy needs to know that Barb could help her know without explaining anything to her?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would that be?
Well, what did you get, Barb, when you tested? Did you get yes or no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't have to think of it. You can remove things. But
You got a signal.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is something. So just what do you intuit it is? What is your...
Yeah, you can remove things in a moment.
Okay. And how could you help her know that?
She already does know it, whether she wants to be told to do it. But people know that they can stand up straight, but there's some people have terrible posture. You can just say, hey, stand up straight, stand up straight. I can remind her every day, but why would I do that? I'm not getting paid, and I got to do it myself. Like, it's like she doesn't see me doing it. She's not going to be listening to me. She doesn't want my input right now.
Okay, but you've already said that Nancy has given you a lot. She continues to
I
give.
saw her suffering and inside something. I would say, hey, just remove it. She'd know she could do that. She would listen and say, okay.
There's something. Okay, there's a mistake I heard Greg make yesterday. So let me use Greg to illustrate this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to be you, and you're this guy that you were talking to. Okay. Okay, well, test that. Do the thing that I showed you before. The testing.
Yeah.
Test that. Cut. Okay, that's what you did with him. Okay?
Mhm.
That's what I heard you do.
Yeah.
Now listen to this.
Okay.
Okay, and be him and do this. Okay, Sam, ask this question. Can I do that? Now, did your finger move? Did you get a twitch?
Can I do that?
Getting a
no.
twitch?
No twitch.
Getting a signal? Are you getting a signal?
Something's happening.
Something's happening.
Something's happening.
So
It's like
yes, you
before.
can do that. Now ask, do I want to do that? See if you get a signal on that.
You would want to do that.
Is your finger moving? Cut. You notice the difference?
Yes.
The difference is that you're actually asking for the test right there.
Right.
It's
And
not
also-
like you're not saying, hey, test that or remove it or take it out and walking away from the person. You're standing there expecting them
staying
to
there with
remove
them
it.
in the process. It's the other way is kind of pushing them away.
Now, does Nancy resent you when you do that, Barb?
When I do what? No, I mean, sometimes. She does like what she does in the movie. I mean, she's sometimes very uncomfortable in her body. She's a lot like me. She's cheerful, but she's got, like, underneath it, she's in a lot of pain most of the time, and
Okay. So let's us play a role. I'll just illustrate it again. So, hey, just take that out.
yeah, okay.
Is it gone?
Well, yeah.
Okay, see if you get a signal. Now, am I free of that? See it? Does your finger?
Wow, yeah, for now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Can you do this again when it comes back?
It already came back. yeah.
Okay, I'm removing it. Now just go ahead and go on, remove it and see if you get a signal.
I know. Like I said, the more I move, the more I realize that this could take forever, I'm really honest.
It might. Do you?
Might, it will.
Well, let me ask you. Would you rather feel good for a minute or not at all?
You don't have to enroll me, I know what you're talking about, I mean, it's all good, I'll try to stay with it. I mean, it's good, it's here and there, always good.
I'm watching you.
Good.
So when I see you feeling bad, I'm going to be saying something. That okay with you?
Sure.
Cut. Okay. She feels pretty demoralized, huh? Like she really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a lot like me. It's like no amount of, like I can't clear my way out of this position. She's buried, under a lot of stuff. She's a lot like me. Like you can't just feel good. That's why she does turn to things to make herself try to feel good in the moment. She's got a lot, she doesn't see the way out sometimes.
Well, test it. Test this. Barb, has Nancy given me things only that don't matter to her?
Yeah.
Does Nancy give me things that matter to her?
No.
Okay. So what you need to be doing is asking her to give you things that matter. Because for her, that's the way out. See, the reason this is in this outline is because they need to give something. You're not agreeing with that, are you?
Yeah.
Barb?
Yeah, no, I can see that. My kids are just like me.
Are you talking to somebody else too there on the...
No,
No, you just...
I agree. So like something that matters to her might be like money, cash money and stuff like that.
Yeah, like to give you $6,300 would be like, and then to do the thing. But see, we have to realize that we're dealing with somebody who is capable of paying $3,000 and then not doing the course.
Yeah.
No, that's not what she did. She paid $3,000 for something that was supposed to, well, that's a long story. She's done a lot of stuff. She gave us $10,000 back when I was a tailor and you were there. She's done a ton of things.
Yeah.
Giving me 3 places to live. She paid Chrissy for something that she thought, and she wanted the money to go to me, and Chrissy kept the money in, so that was always a problem.
Yeah, that's right.
She was trying to empower me. Chrissy kicked me out of her group. Nancy got up and said, well, Barb's leaving, I'm leaving. And
You know what? I think that we have to give Nancy a lot of credit.
Yeah.
I just think, and the more I listen to what you're saying, the more I keep thinking, Nancy, whatever her problems are, Nancy is not a stranger who we're running the outline with, evaluating. We have a long history with her as well as her with us. And
we've always been trying to teach her a lesson, and we've been putting her down. Chrissy basically, just pulled a fast one on her, and we've all said no one's really respected Nancy. That's the thing she never gets.
We owe Nancy our support and our respect.
That's right.
That's right. So thank you for thanks for being there to hold the space so that we could rediscover her. Mm-hmm. And she's a great person. Nancy has greatness.
She's a hub. I know, she's awesome.
Yeah, she has greatness.
I remember, remember when I first walked into that place where I was living up at the studio, and she said, well, this is something about buying chocolate or doing this or that. She goes, well, I don't know if I can do any of that, but the whole world comes through here. And she was right. Like the people that walk through that place are like, movers and shaker types, at least in that area, Santa Fe.
Okay, here's the thing. Your 20-mile march with Nancy, every day, forever, since she's giving you, all these things that she does give you, the thing for you to give her is every time you see something that she can cure, to just stop and say, okay, test that, and take her specifically through the testing and the, signals until it is gone. even if it comes back in 5 minutes. And you will get a lot out of practicing that. I know you're talking to somebody else, Barb.
I'm not. Just looking at pictures. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so that is your practice. That's the way you respect her. And if you do that for like even a few days or a week or two, I will meet with her again and we can have another time with her like that, okay?
I don't live there anymore. I mean, I had my chance and I'm not even there anymore, so.
Well, you'll be back at some point. Do it when you get back. It's fine.
Okay.
You know, and also you can call her and do it.
Mm-hmm.
This was a very instructive meeting. This was I must say. Well, see, here's the question. Why, Barb, why are we doing this?
Right now?
I mean, why are we doing this with people? Why do it with Nancy? Why do it with the woman who you're working for who's baking downstairs? Why?
What's a little higher dimensional life? I don't know, so things can be in a higher dimension. People don't have to be sick.
That is a very good answer. You want to have a higher dimensional life. Thank you. That is a very good answer. You know, another reason I'm doing it is to manifest.
Yeah.
And you know what Ross said last week? But Ross, I never forgot what you said last week.
What did I say? I forgot.
You said you wanted a better world.
Oh yes, absolutely.
You do this because you want to live in a world where nobody gets sick, where everybody knows they can cure things.
Yes.
That's why we do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's now you're making me think of some stuff that was tough. Like, it was really tough when Darren was dying, and I had such a different idea about things than Nancy did, and that was just really difficult time.
Mm-hmm. And what are you thinking of?
I mean, that was when I sort of shut down and gave up. I was like, well, she's going to do things her way, and
You mean when you could have just been there and had her test thing by thing?
we could have all just been there removing the cancer rather than commiserating with Darren and bringing her soup and bread and whatever the heck else they were doing.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you!
Yeah.
Yay!
That was really hard. And I remember the day I just decided, okay, this is it, it's too late. I'm done. I said goodbye to Darren and I left.
Thank you.
One thing I've been doing with Greg is, well, Bart kind of got him to promise to call me every day to make time. We just talked a little bit, well, sometimes we talk a lot, but we talked every day. We made a point of it, and it made a big difference to do that. That's why I think what Bart's suggesting is a very good thing, just to keep it floating there, and every time I have cravings, I think of Rosella, like, remove it. Every time it comes up until it doesn't come up anymore.
Sure, because it's endless. But the thing is, you don't get any more herpes outbreaks, and 20 years later, you can be pretty sure that you don't have herpes in any of your bodies, and that it's gone permanently. Some of the effects of this are cumulative. You do something, and it never comes back. There are things that we cure that never come back. So that's why we do it. So the question is, are we trying to give or trying to get? Are we giving or getting? What are we doing?
We're giving and getting.
Giving and getting.
Yep.
It's been hard for me with Nancy. She goes to therapy. She goes to different treatments and professionals and marriage counselors and the Abraham people and landmark people, life coaches. Marriage
The
counselor.
securing people. The securing people. For the people. Yeah, the thing that's made a big difference for me is this, you hunker down to just this, not this big thing and trying all these things, but not thinking about it, but just what is really going on right.
It's kind of like our close family. Like how many of us have our sisters and brothers or parents doing this? Like she's like my family. She's watched me. And she'll wait. She's even said, well, you know, where's your wealth? Where's your success? But then after we did that movie, she said something. She goes, you look better than you have in 20 years, she says to me. So, you know, slowly things change. But that's because I just decided.
Well, we got to know. I'll tell you, you know what I'm going to do? Here's my action.
I think you should keep in touch with her.
I was just going to say, I'm going to write to Nancy. And I'm going to, I think I'll maybe write on her Facebook wall. Does she ever look at Facebook?
Sometimes, but see, that's where she is too. She needs to go to the top dog. Like she needs you to talk to her. That would be respect.
Well, I'm going to, I love her. And I'm going to write to her and I'm going to tell her what we know about her. Because we know that she has greatness. And, you know, I'm going to, you know, I'm gonna give her the respect that she deserves.
Okay.
That's the bottom line. Is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come through for myself and for her, and you know, like stand up on this.
Okay.
So, and the rest I leave to you. The nitty gritty of actually, you know, like being in there when she's feeling bad and getting her to take that thing out. But you will get so much. It's fantastic practice, Barb.
Yeah.
Because that you'll find things that you never thought about, like the rot thing. See, that's one of her main problems is she bumps. People are getting rot on her, like she's enmeshing herself with people.
Yeah, we all know that. That's true.
So, well, this is our meeting. Thank you all. Let's link our. Let's link our results body, shall we?
Yes.
Okay.
Barb, I'm with you.
Thank you. I can use this. Don't give up, please.
I'm with you, Ross. With you, Nell.
Good stuff, man.
Nell, I'm going to call you in a minute, Nell, and I'm going to show you a couple of things, okay? I'll call you on Skype.
Okay, bye.
Nell, did you hear that?
Greg, Frankie, can you stay on for me?